now.
Snow across central Indiana on the last day of November. There may not be much accumulation in most areas, but don't let that deceive you on the roads. The warning you need to hear in moments.
When it does ravage your lungs, it's like a tornado.
COVID-19 pneumonia is catching some by surprise. Just ahead, we'll tell you about the diagnosis that is becoming more common and what it could mean for you.
Even months out from surviving and going through rehab, are still dealing with a lot of debilitating symptoms.
If you have COVID-19, sometimes it's not as simple as just letting the virus run its course. The lingering impact coronavirus can have on people, what you should look out for.
From not getting a tax return back to absent stimulus checks, many have been frustrated with the IRS this year. WRTV investigates Kara Kenny takes your questions straight to the IRS, what she is finding out. Welcome into the news at 6 on WRTV on this Monday evening. I'm Amanda Starantino.
And I'm Mark Mullins. Off and on snow all day as we say goodbye to November. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Gregory. Kevin, how long will our snow chances last?
Through the night, especially in the eastern portion of the state. One of the changes that I expect over the next few hours will be slick spots developing, especially secondary roads, bridges and overpasses as those temperatures fall below the freezing mark. Metro area, just some flurries, very light snow. As you go to the east, picks up in intensity a little bit, so you may see some reduction in visibility here. And remember, we've got the winds gusting over 20 from Muncie to Newcastle down to Greenfield, Rushville. You're in a spot that could see an inch, maybe a little more of additional accumulation tonight. Nice little ribbon of snow from Sullivan to about Shoals and Jasper east of Vincennes down into southern Indiana. Keep our eye on this to the north. That's lake effect snow that will drift south, may reach the metro area later tonight. Temperature is 30 with a feels like temperature or wind chill of 17. Any additional snowfall for most of us, an inch or less, maybe just a little more as you go into eastern Indiana. We'll all be in the 20s tomorrow morning, but you'll need to dress for the teens because that's what the wind chill will be with the strong wind.
Thanks, Kevin. I want to give you a live look right now at the North Split and at I-69 and Fishers. And even though we haven't seen much snow accumulate in most of central Indiana, you can expect the roads to be slick in spots. That's because of all the snow and rain we received today has made driving surfaces wet. And now that the temperature is below freezing, some of that water can freeze. Wherever you're going, make sure you slow down and leave plenty of distance in front of you. And INDOT is out right now in an effort to keep interstates and state roads as clear of snow and ice as possible. The agency says it's using a mix of salt and beet heat to limit the freezing on the roads so you can drive as safely as possible.
We've been doing, treatments on bridge decks, and we've been patrolling all day, just watching that road temperature. But right now, we're getting down there so that salt will be the most effective, and we'll be able to get it to stick to the road.
But again, don't rely totally on those road treatments. You also need to slow down and make sure you give plenty of space to other vehicles. Also give plenty of room to the road crews who are out and about tonight. Stay weather aware 24 hours a day on the WRTV app. There we are continuously updating the forecast and any weather alerts that may arise. Plus, you can check out our interactive radar and the 7-day forecast. Again, that's all in the weather section of the WRTV app.
Doctors are finding that pneumonia can be a complication of COVID-19. When the infection progresses to a patient's lungs, it can cause pneumonia, and from there, recovery can become even tougher. WRTV's Troy Washington spoke with a woman who explains sometimes the symptoms are not obvious.
I didn't know, you can have horrible pneumonia with no cough. And this COVID, it's like bionic. It's weird.
Elaine Robbins says her husband is battling COVID-19 pneumonia, something experts say that they're seeing more and more of in patients.
Her husband, Mark, appeared to be fine at first.
November 10th, he came home from work just with a headache and was tired. But I mean, that's him half the time. Comes home, it's like tired with a headache. But he's like, I really don't feel good.
In a matter of a few weeks, this family's life has been flipped upside down by the coronavirus.
So he was just so tired. He could not get up, but we didn't know that was because his oxygen levels were dangerously low. He could barely walk when we got him to the hospital. If they said if we had waited any longer, he would have died. And then he's just gone downhill.
For this mother and wife, it hurts to see the love of her life suddenly fighting for his life.
my 3 daughters. It's their dad. It's my husband. I mean, there's a good chance they're going to lose their dad and I'm going to lose my husband.
Doctors are still learning about COVID-19 pneumonia, but they say in patients with the diagnosis, usually both lungs are affected instead of just one.
When it does ravage your lungs, it's like a tornado.
Even though she says doctors have called her husband's situation dire, she's not losing hope and still believes a miraculous recovery can happen. Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
Last week, Mark received convalescent plasma, and according to the family, in the last 2 days, he's been steadily showing signs of improvement, although he is still on a ventilator.
After battling the deadly virus, some COVID-19 patients have reported lingering health issues, and there are several lasting effects the novel coronavirus might have for some people. WRTV's Stephanie Wade reports what to be on the lookout for.
Even after surviving COVID-19, patients are reporting lasting symptoms.
Everything from mental health changes, so depression, anxiety, PTSD, to sleep changes, a lot of difficulty sleeping.
To cognitive issues, including memory lapses.
As well as a lot of physical function problems. So a lot of pain in their arms or legs, particularly in those who were admitted to the intensive care unit.
Up to 6 months, Dr. Sikandar Khan with IU Health says after recovering from the virus.
Their stamina is not the same. They get easily fatigued. And they have a lot of pain in their body.
IU Health established their ICU Survivor Center in May in response to COVID-19, noticing there was a wide variety of lingering effects in their patients. Dr. Khan says 60% have complained of a low quality of life.
Even months out from surviving and going through rehab are still dealing with a lot of debilitating symptoms. And so for them, recovery is not just, discharging from the hospital and feeling great again, but it is months, if not years, of recovery.
Patients are treated by a team of specialists using a host of rehabilitation therapies. Patients who are older, Dr. Khan says, with more medical problems will often have longer recoveries, but that's not always the case with every patient.
We were quite taken aback that even our young patients, so our youngest being 22 years of age that we have already seen in our ICU Survivor Center, even those patients were having a lot of difficulty adjusting back to life after COVID.
As we learn more about this virus every day, he encourages anyone feeling any lasting symptoms to seek help. Stephanie Wade, WRTV.
The IU Health ICU Survivor Center is available to any patient after an ICU stay. They also welcome patients admitted from other hospitals.
Data from the state shows more than 36 newly reported COVID-19 deaths and thousands of new coronavirus cases. Today, the Indiana Department of Health reports 38 additional COVID-19 deaths. To date, 5,456 Hoosiers have died with the coronavirus. The Department of Health also confirms 5,713 additional COVID-19 cases in Indiana. A total of 338,977 people in the state have been diagnosed with the coronavirus since the pandemic began in March. More hopeful news when it comes to getting the pandemic under control and maybe ending it. Moderna says it will ask the FDA to allow emergency use of its vaccine, much like Pfizer did earlier this month with its own vaccine. Today, Moderna announced new results from its testing. The company says of 196 COVID-19 cases so far in its U.S. study, only 11 were trial participants who received the real vaccine. 30 people got severely ill, and all of them got the placebo. ABC News reports today's announcement means Moderna is on track to see a possible FDA-authorized vaccine by the end of the year. Moderna also plans to produce 20 million doses available for distribution around the country by the end of December. That is enough doses to vaccinate 10 million people. To be clear, neither Moderna nor Pfizer have received emergency use authorization for their respective vaccines yet.
Well, this has been a very frustrating year for many Hoosiers when it comes to the IRS. Many of you have complained about not being able to get through on the phone, delays in getting your federal stimulus checks and tax refunds, as well as scams. The Rebound Indiana is WRTV's initiative to help families get back on their feet. And for the first time, WRTV Investigates Kara Kenny was able to take your questions and concerns directly to the Internal Revenue Service.
At the beginning of the pandemic, the IRS shut down many of its call centers and paper processing centers, leaving a backlog and many Hoosiers frustrated.
I can't get any information.
Doretta New of Indianapolis filed her taxes via mail on March 11th. Doretta waited and waited to get her federal refund and her stimulus check. She couldn't get a hold of a live person at the IRS.
I don't even know if they have it. I'm to the point where should I remail a copy of it? You know, how long am I going to have to wait? Are they not working?
Doretta's tax return was likely stuck sitting at a paper processing center that was shut down because of the pandemic. She finally got her tax refund and stimulus check 3 months later in June.
Were those times acceptable, and what is being done for the future?
Remember, most people, over 160 million Americans, receive their economic impact payment either through direct deposit, a debit card, or a check. Most of it was direct deposit and done quickly over the course of a couple weeks. That's a monumental effort that we were able to accomplish.
We took your concerns to Luis Garcia, an IRS spokesperson for the Midwest region.
Can you tell us what's being done to address that?
He told us they have as many people working from home as possible.
We do have a backlog. We've been working through it as we can, but remember, we're at limited capacity in terms of what we can physically do. The call centers, the big mail processing facilities, those are really not at the full capacity that we'd like them to be, but we're adhering to the laws in the states that we operate.
A few million Americans still have not received their stimulus checks, but mostly people who don't normally file taxes. If you missed yours, you can still get your money when you file your taxes in 2021.
It will be based on your 2020 tax status. So
some Hoosiers received stimulus checks for their deceased family members, like Jay Tilden in Beech Grove.
So I was surprised and immediately thought about how this was something that potentially was fraud.
An independent watchdog report says the Treasury and IRS sent almost 1.1 million payments totaling nearly 1.4 billion to deceased individuals.
Has that been rectified?
Well, remember, some people, when they receive checks for somebody who's deceased, that deceased person, or their estate, I should say, is legitimately eligible for that payment.
WRTV Investigates has also warned you about scams in which criminals pose as the IRS, usually via phone or text message.
Be very careful. Remember, IRS isn't going to text you. We're not going to send you a direct message via social media.
And remember, the IRS will never threaten you or demand payment by a particular method like gift cards. The IRS will usually send you a letter in the mail. As of May, the IRS added more than 3,000 phone operators to help answer calls, but they encourage you to search irs.gov first.
If you call us, please be patient. Understand that we're not working anywhere near the capacity we want to be. We absolutely want to be the sort of agency that picks up on the first ring. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that at this time.
As of now, Congress has not approved a second round of stimulus checks. So if you get a text or an email about that, delete it. It's a scam. Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
New jobs are opening up in the middle of this pandemic, and we are showing you some of them in the Hiring Hoosiers job feed. Amerisource Virgin Drug Corporation has 4 openings at its Whitetown facility for warehouse associates. Pay is between $15 and $17.50 an hour, and benefits are available. We have more info on the job board at hiringhoosiers.com. Hiring Hoosiers partner Spirion has hundreds of open jobs available in Indianapolis, Greenwood, Franklin, and Shelbyville. Apply now by visiting this post on the Hiring Hoosiers Facebook page. Securitas Security Services USA has 3 openings. They need customer service security officers to work in Indianapolis, Columbus, Indiana, and Lafayette.
And we'll track the snow that's ongoing across portions of central Indiana for tonight, but we'll detail a colder week ahead as well.
Well, the Colts lost their game to the Titans yesterday, but a loss on the roster could be tough to handle in the weeks ahead. Find out how one key player is having his season cut short by a significant medical issue.
I think I know the answer to this question. Feel the difference from yesterday? This is the temperature change in the last 24 hours, anywhere from, generally 10 to 20 degrees colder. And it's that northwest wind that really drives home the point, making these temperatures feel more like the teens. It's 29 in Tipton, 29 in Richmond, 30 in Greenfield. To the east along Interstate 70, I-74, I-69. Watch out on bridges and overpasses and changing road conditions as a result of these temperatures coming down to about freezing. Same can be said Terre Haute, Bloomington, Bloomfield down to Bedford. You've got two areas here, very light snow in eastern Indiana. Southern portions or southwest along I-69 from Bloomington on down toward Evansville. And then we'll keep our eye here to the north, where I think off of Lake Michigan we'll continue with a ribbon of some lake effect snow. Again, any additional accumulation likely to be an inch or less. Only areas in eastern Indiana might see a little more than that. It stays windy. The winds will gust over 20 miles per hour. Temperature stays pretty consistent this evening before dropping into the mid-20s. There's the ribbon of snow, 7 o'clock tonight coming off of Lake Michigan, 11 o'clock pretty much by itself as we've pushed the light snow off to the east. And then morning hours tomorrow from Peru, Kokomo over to about Newcastle, a little light snow continues. That will wrap up. This is what I mean by additional snowfall that may exceed an inch toward Richmond, toward Winchester, Connorsville, and Liberty, while western Indiana will see very little. As far as the wind chill temperature, noticeable in the teens tomorrow morning. 15 is what it will feel like as the winds still gust over 20 miles per hour from the northwest. That wind will stay strong through the day tomorrow and will only climb to about 35 degrees. At least we'll add some sunshine in as we go into the afternoon hours. 33 for the high in Marion tomorrow, 34 in Frankfort. Richmond, one of the spots in the mid-30s. These are all about 10 degrees below average for this time of year. Upper 30s, Bedford and Seymour. 7-day forecast all 7 days in the 20s for lows. High temperatures generally in the low 40s Wednesday through the weekend. Any chance for showers is minimal. That will come a low chance Thursday and a low chance again on Saturday.
Kevin, thank you. Both the Colts and the IU football team will be looking to fill important spots on their rosters this week.
One injury and one difficult medical setback making the headlines today. Brad Brown has a look at how both teams are preparing for the week ahead.
The Colts have had one of the best special teams units in the league this season, but they'll have to move forward without Rigoberto Sanchez. The punter announcing on social media Monday that he's going to have surgery to remove a cancerous tumor. It will keep him out for an unknown amount of time.
It puts things in perspective. We all know this is everyone's livelihood is really important to them as far as their job and their game, so on and so forth, how you feed your family. And so football's really important to us. It's our way we make a living. But we all know that family and health comes first.
Sanchez punted 5 times yesterday against the Titans, an average of nearly 50 yards, working hard for the team as long as he could.
To further show the type of teammate he is, obviously he received the information late in the week. There was discussion on whether or not he would play or not play. You got to just know Rigo to know there was no way he was going to let the team down.
The Colts will be looking to get back on track after one of their worst showings of the season. Down 21 at halftime to the Titans, 45-26 when it was all done. And now they've fallen back to second place in the division.
Out of all the bad things that happened, you cannot hang your head until, that clock is zero. That's when you lost, when the clock is zero. But as long as there's time on the clock, you got to continue to fight, and that's what we do. But, man, I just feel like defensively, man, the past 2 games, we coming out. We wait till we get hit in the mouth to start playing, and we can't do that. We want to be a good defense. We got to step up. We got to step up in the first half, and we against a good team, you definitely can't do that.
The Colts go to Houston this Sunday. They'll play 2 of the next 3 against the Texans. Indy's in the final AFC wildcard spot for now, but not a lot of wiggle room as December gets going. The IU football team is also dealing with a very significant injury. Quarterback Michael Penix Jr. is out for the season. A torn ACL suffered in Saturday's win over Maryland. It is the same knee that Penix hurt his freshman year. A huge adjustment in store for Indiana heading into their final 3 games.
It's just tough. It's hard. And really feel for him, all he's worked to get back and the way he was playing. But bottom line is that, setbacks and adversity is part of this life. And as we told our team, even last week, it's how you respond to these challenges define who we are.
IU gets Wisconsin next. That game's scheduled for 3:30 Saturday. The Badgers are still dealing with COVID-19 cases, though, so we'll see if that one goes as planned. If it does, you can watch it right here on WRTV. And it's not Hawaii, but Asheville, North Carolina. IU in the opening round of the relocated Maui Invitational. A solid start for Indiana against Providence. A 13-point lead at the half. Kept going in the second. Al Duran with 19 points in the game. Hoosiers had 4 in double figures. Trace Jackson Davis did his part. Only 12 points in the game. Just 5 of 15 shooting. Trace had 7 rebounds to go with it. The big performance came from Race Thompson. 22 points to lead IU. The first double-double of his college career. Indiana wins it 79-58. The Hoosiers will face Texas in Tuesday's semifinal. Brad Brown, WRTV Sports.
Welcome back. Let's do something we haven't done in a while. Show the WRTV photo of the day.
And check this out. This is Ben Pauly's quarantine accomplishment. Ben started a 9,000-piece puzzle at the beginning of the pandemic. When he was locked down, and 8 months later, he has finally finished this masterpiece.
And you can see all of the Disney characters, that 9,000 piece puzzle features there. What a great activity to take on during the pandemic. That's even an impressive accomplishment. Isn't that something?
Absolutely. Send us your photo of the day. Email it to news@WRTV.com.
If we choose your picture, we'll air it here on the News at 6. Again, that email is news@WRTV.com.
I'm just glad he didn't get to 8,999. Searching for the last piece. All right, the missing piece to our weather is temperatures in the 60s, and you won't find that in the 7-day forecast. Those are all snow showers. Again, a few tenths of an inch of accumulation for most of us. In the 20s for all of us overnight.
Thanks for making WRTV your choice for news.
Up next here is World News Tonight with David Muir, and we'll see you back here tonight at 7 o'clock.